Have you ever heard the name Billy Caldwell? And I'm not talking about the singer, and I'm also not talking about the golf course that's on the north side. It was actually an influential yet not widely known figure in both Native American and early American history.
He was known as Chief Sauganash and negotiated the largest land treaty in American history at 5 million acres. Joining us now with more is filmmaker and author Susan L. Kelsey. Susan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
He actually was awarded land in that land deal, which is largely the neighborhood we're talking about today.
That's right, the 1829 treaty, the Prairie du Chien Treaty. He was awarded land as well as 3 other men.
So tell us a little bit about his background. He was of mixed race. He was part Indian. His mother was with the Mohawk tribe?
Yes, he was what you call Métis, mixed blood. His mother was from Mohawk Nation in New York, she's now in Canada, that tribe. And his father was from Ireland and served in the British Army.
Okay.
So Billy Caldwell was born shortly after the American Revolution. And it was during a very tumultuous time in America.
He made his way to Illinois and then he got that land in the land treaty. And you found him because there was a marker in Sauganash about Billy Caldwell, correct?
Yes, he was in the fur trade, and so he migrated across the country and ended up in Chicago. And my husband and I bought a house in the Sauganash neighborhood and found a marker on the ground put there by the Daughters of the American Revolution several years ago. And I just started reading about him. You know, Billy Caldwell, Chief Sauganash, talked about signing of the old treaty under the old elm tree, and the road, the Indian boundary road up to Milwaukee and Fort Dearborn. And I just became curious, and it was before the internet, so I had to go to a lot of sources to learn about it initially.
Okay, so why is he such an influential figure? Because it sounds to me is that what he did was he made it so that these 3 tribes left their native land.
Well, that's what's interesting about him. He was half Native American, half Irish, but he represented the tribes that were in the Chicago area, which were the Potawatomi, Chippewa, and Odawa. And he actually negotiated 2 of the treaties, the 1829 treaty and the 1833 treaty, between the United States government and the United Nations of these 3 tribes.
Because he was able to speak multiple languages, from what I understand, correct?
He spoke multiple languages.
Okay.
He also was from the East Coast, and he knew what was coming.
Okay.
He had experience in wars. He had been a warrior. He had done battles. His father was a warrior. And so he understood what was coming across America and what was happening with the Chicago portage.
Okay, so he moves these 3 tribes, I think it's to Iowa, a portion of Iowa?
Yeah, during that time, there were several tribes in the Chicago area. Indigenous people have been in Chicago for 14,000 years. So the tribes he moved went multiple places. Some went over to Michigan, the Pokagon tribe. Some went up to Wisconsin, the Forest Potawatomi. Some went to Kansas, the Prairie Band Potawatomi, and to Oklahoma, which is Citizen Band Potawatomi. So they kind of went different places.
So how do they feel about that? I mean, because they get moved out of their native land, he gets a plot of their native land. How do they look? I mean, do they look at him as such a hero and leader? Well,
Indigenous people have always thought of Chicago as their native land. They've never given up on that. But that was really the thesis of the documentary is, you know, I was intrigued by Billy Caldwell, but what did the people that were removed from Illinois really think about him? So that was the quest. We went out to Mayetta, Kansas, where the tribe is located now, interviewed tribal elders, council members, historians, government officials, and in general, people feel like he did the best he could do with the resources he had at the time.
Because once they were all moved and he built on that land, that started establishing the Chicagoland area, correct? And more people started settling in that area because the land was available.
His land was near North Park,
Okay.
what you're talking about today, in the Chicago River, in the Sauganash neighborhood. He never actually lived there. He never actually built there. He was given that land. He sold most of it off. And in his, you know, to his credit, he went west with the tribe when they left Illinois.
Okay.
Okay. So we can learn more in this documentary that you have put together.
Yes.
Book and documentary, right?
Tell us more about it.
So we've done 3 different films. We've done a 20-minute short film. We've done a 40-minute film with a complete curriculum for Illinois schools. Last year, Governor Pritzker signed into legislation that every school must teach Native American history. So we have a curriculum for that. Then we have a full film for 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Fantastic. And that's all going to be available for viewing for the public after the film festivals wrap up, so you'll be able to see it, people will be able to see it next year.
Sure.
Fantastic, Susan. Thank you so much. You can learn more, get your hands on the book at thebillycaldwellmovie.com. Fascinating.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
All right.